Do you want me to record it or no? Yeah, okay. I'll leave the recording. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll make you the host, all right? And then I'll sign off. Okay. I'm sorry. You're welcome.
You build it omelet with pan, pork sausage.
Something is not. Hold on.
Feta cheese. And green peppers. I think that's usually one. Mushroom.
Sounds like a nice breakfast, Alan.
Yeah, just got into Minnesota. We're going on a fishing trip. Hey, Paul.
yeah?
Good. I see a face I haven't seen for a while. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well, Alan, and you?
You look very relaxed.
Oh, I always look like this.
I'm heading fishing myself in about 2 hours.
I got you.
I'm
I'm
gonna take
going
a
to
nap.
I'm going to the Boundary Waters in 5 days
Are you?
myself. So
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
going Ontario, Pro Falls. Have you been there before?
I haven't I've only this will be the second time I've ever gone to the Boundary Waters. So when I was a kid with the Boy Scouts.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It's been about 30 years.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been a while for us too. I'm going with my little brother and my son. So it's gonna be great.
Michael, I kind of grew up at Boundary Waters.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm really it was like the best trip my dad and I ever did together, and I'm super excited just to go back and do it again. So going with some buddies and doing the canoe thing, and yeah.
When I was like 16 or 17, I did Outward Bound in Boundary Waters.
It's a southern thing.
Went well up into the Quetico.
I gotta learn how to lift the canoe again. That's gonna be
Yeah.
I'd drop it on my head.
Yeah, that's pretty challenging.
Yeah, it's funny. This trip that we're going on was my dad used to take my brother and I to Canada fishing, and I finally had the chance to actually pay for him to go. So we were gonna, I was gonna pay for him for the whole trip, and it's about 5-6 years ago. He broke his hip right before the week before we get on the trip, and unfortunately, my dad died a week later. So this is kind of a memorial trip, for my brother and I and my son, and they're kind of and the same exact trip we're going to go on. So it's kind of cool.
Well, enjoy.
Oh, we will.
You're gonna go for muskie.
Well, yeah, pike and walleye. I'm not a
Oh,
great
yeah.
fisherman. My brother's real good. My son's good. So I'm just there to have fun.
Have lunch on some walleye.
Oh yeah, short
You can't-
lunch is the best.
I know, you catch it and then an hour later you eat it. You
That's
don't
exactly
get
right.
it fresher than that.
No, definitely not.
A master?
Hey, while we're waiting for Ann, let me introduce Ravi Kata. So Paul, you don't know Ravi. Ravi is new. He came in as a co-developer, co-manager for Angel View 2 and an investor at the same time. And then I twisted his arm and said, hey, I could use some help on Angel View 1.
Follow your heart.
Would you mind helping? And fortunately, he said yes. I'm not sure I think he might be regretting that decision, but no, I'm kidding. But he's a great guy. But while we're waiting, let's give Ravi a chance to talk a little bit about his background and Paul, I've known for about 5 years, great guy. And you do look very relaxed, Paul, by the way. So that retirement is working for you.
Semi-retired.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ravi, go ahead while we're waiting.
Good morning, guys. Alan told great things about Paul, and so look forward to working with you. But at very high level, technology entrepreneur, became a full-time investor on the tech startups, but also real estate. And we're doing a lot of projects in Austin, pretty big size projects. When we finish some of these 3 projects we're doing here, they're probably worth $1.4, $1.5 billion assets under management. So when Alan approached through one of my friend, ex-colleague, and this project sounded amazing. And so I said, okay, let's jump on it and then go and do what needed to be done. That's pretty high level, but I'm happy to be here and then look forward to working with you all.
Oh, are you doing introductions? Can we
Yeah,
back up?
we were talking about fishing trips and everything, Ann. So we're
So, yeah,
killing
if we
some
can-
time.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe the best way to, so first, apology for our difficulties this morning, but our audio and visual technology is obviously much better than the last time we met. So hopefully it was worth the wait. So yeah, I think a round of introductions would be a great way to start. I think everybody knows me. I'm Ann Schneider. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce Bryce. So,
Yeah, Bryce Ehrlich, I'm the mapping director here at Lake County.
and then Michael.
I'm Michael Yerman. I'm with right now the Southern Colorado Economic Development District, and assisting with outside agency review for Ann and the county, with a focus on housing, but I don't think that's a really big part of this discussion today, right?
But Michael's been a community development director in other jurisdictions, and he lends an incredible amount of expertise to our team. Paul?
I'm Paul Clarkson. I am a retired community development director, or semi-retired. Hi, Bryce.
Hey, Paul.
I will try to find this guy.
So this
And
would be go ahead.
you should know that you're a little out of focus and you're kind of herky-jerky.
Well, not sure how to adjust that because our everything here is pretty stable. So can you hear us well?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. Then if the audio is distracting, just let us know. We can always turn it off. So,
Audio is fine. Visual
if the
is,
video, I mean the video. If the video is distracting, just let us know. We'll turn the camera off.
No, you're fine.
yeah, you're fine.
I do hear some background though. I'm not
I
sure
do
what
too.
Alan, there you go.
Okay, there we go. So this is the Lake County team. So I've broadened capacity with the help of Paul, Michael, and Bryce. We've got a lot of development coming into Lake County currently, and so we are finding some more strength and capacity in this assistance. So I hope that it will serve this proposal as several others. So this is the Lake County team. You'll still send things directly to me whenever we have correspondence, but these are all of us that will be working on it behind the scenes. So then, Alan, if you would like to introduce the AngelView team to us, or have your team.
I'll do it quick and I'll talk briefly because the background, I just got off a plane and got into a restaurant. So, so my team, Ravi Kata, co-developer, co-manager, AngelView 1, AngelView 2, investor in both. And then we've got a new engineering team, TST. And I'm going to pause, and Brian and Don, Don, you can introduce your team.
Okay, I'll do that. My name is Don Toronto. I'm with TST. I'm an engineer. To my right here, maybe your left, is Brian Williamson. He's a landscape architect planner, and then Jake Ziegler is another engineer that's working on this particular project. We're excited to be here. We've done a lot of work in the mountains in the past, but not in Lake County. So we're excited about doing that.
And I would say that there's one member of our team that is absent. That's Melissa Kendrick. I think you guys all are familiar with her. She is on vacation this week and was unavailable. I think she's in a remote area of Utah. So we're kind of trudging along without her today. And you are muted.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody or see everyone again. And the intent today is to conduct your pre-application meeting for your sketch plan submittal. And so generally what we do, I know you've created, I will allow a screen share here. And, oh, wait, just a minute, sorry. And we'll, generally what we do is just go through kind of the checklist of items for the submittal and let you present to the team what you have in regards to that. Just kind of makes it a little kind of cohesive, and we kind of make sure we hit all the points. So since we're a little behind time, let's go ahead and just jump in. The land use application obviously is pretty easy. The cost and fees agreement, let me just need something really quick here. There we go. The cost and fees agreement, Alan, I did see that you took some liberties on editing that. Unfortunately, at this time, we can take those into advisement for maybe a later time, but that would be a decision by the board. And I don't think that there's probably a lot of support for that at this time. So we'll need you to redo the form without the edits. If you're free to have a conversation about that if you would like.
Yeah, we obviously just wanted to control costs, not have what happened with the with SEH happen again. If we can, if they can just stay in their lane a little bit, that'd be good. There was, I think there were some things that they were looking at that cost us a considerable amount of money. So just venting a little bit, and Ravi coming in, he's certainly a numbers guy, and he doesn't necessarily have the experience in Lake County, but certainly big experience. Thought, well, let's at least ask. I think the answer is no. So if we can just, the best we can do is at least try to be, sensitive to the fact that, we're trying to control costs too, like everybody is.
18-year-old be able to buy them here.
Sure, I completely appreciate that. And Paul, you were more involved in the initial in Angel View 1, that SEH review. I think that's what you're referring to, Alan. Do you have any comment, or should we just move on? All right, let's just go ahead and move on then. So obviously just a vicinity map, that's pretty easy. The title work, do we have a current title commitment?
We do. It's unfortunately, Melissa, I think she sent that to you, maybe not.
So, so if you say it's included in the dashboard, that's fine. I did do a screen share. So if you want to, if someone has the dashboard, or I could send it over to this computer and get it queued up. If you want to screen share, and as I hit things, if they're in that, you can use that.
I would love to do that. Unfortunately, we're locked out of the dashboard, and Melissa is unable to get into on an internet connection to actually give us access. We didn't know if we're hoping maybe you had access, but maybe you don't.
You know what? That's exactly right. I tried to get in there this morning too, and it said that I needed permission. I forgot.
So we have, we'll use the same dashboard that we used on Angel View 1, and we can certainly look at all the requirements that we believe are the requirements that are on the left-hand side, because they don't require any links. But if we need to go through the dashboard, we're at a complete loss at this point without Melissa.
Okay. I think between the team, I would think between Don, Brian, and Jake, you probably have the nuts and bolts that we would really need to look at today. And so these other peripheral items aren't probably.
I can share the dashboard and kind of check and make sure that what I'd like to do is just true up that there's nothing on Ann's list that's not on the dashboard.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do
Okay.
that. The printout on the taxes. So first, the title is on there. Let's see, application fee.
So we got the major subdivision application and the general land use application.
Okay, so the applications are in there. I do see the cost and fees. Application fee, I will get that to you. Okay, then we've got the GIS map, which was the vicinity map. The next would be the title commitment. I see that it's on there. The treasurer's printout of taxes. I see that's there. The general project report. Does somebody want to, okay, so let's just keep going through the items and make sure they're there. General project reports. Oh, I forgot my page 2. Let's see, what do you have up there next?
Let me see if I can, I'm just gonna bump that up a little. Is that better for everybody?
Yeah. Can you go over just a bit? Thank you. And okay, so the next item and so in the general project, this is the sketch plan, name, subdivision, tracks, lots, pattern, street, and pedestrian system, existing and adjacent properties, existing and proposed zoning. The general project report, the soil types based on okay, so we've got soils. Just a minute, I'm going to code real quick just to make sure there's no deviation here. So looks like you've got everything in there. The next would be the water supply.
Yep, and I do, I'm not. We do
Oh,
have
okay.
in the narrative, I believe
So it looks like you've got the utilities,
And,
acreage.
and
Yes.
if I might interrupt, I'd like to ask the team, do Michael and I have access to these Google links?
Oh, Paul, you will have them as soon as you guys have the dashboard. I sent it to both of you. And so as
Yes.
soon as you go in and you try to open it, you'll have to send a permission and Melissa will have to open it. And that's what we're talking about, is that Melissa
Oh.
hasn't opened it to us yet.
All right.
So you'll have access. Yes, everyone will on our team has access to the dashboard. I've shared it with all of you.
How long will it be, Alan, before Melissa can fix this?
I don't know. We've, yeah, as soon as you can get internet, so hopefully a couple of days. But I don't know exactly where she's at. We're gonna, it's a lesson learned on our side. We're gonna do something a little bit different so we don't have these control issues. If somebody is out of pocket, we don't want to have, somebody else tries to get in. We want to make sure we have immediate access. Robbie's a technology guy. So he'll help me own this and make sure that we don't have this problem again, because we can't be dependent on just one person. And yep, so we'll fix it.
Okay, I might mention, and Ann might want to take note, that I don't know that the 10-day clock from this pre-application meeting should start counting until we do have access to those Google documents.
Yeah, my understanding of the code, Paul, is that the 10-day clock starts when we make the application. Right, like this, so the pre-application meeting is a prerequisite to being able to make the application. Right, so I think we would be making the application when you guys have access.
So you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anne had to step out to get another piece of paper. She'll be right back. She doesn't have the complete checklist.
Okay, Bryce, I'm sorry, in your introduction, I missed, what department are you with, or what was your role?
Yeah, so I just moved into the community planning and development department, but I'm the mapping director.
Okay,
So I'm in charge of GIS and just kind of some geographical analysis and things like that.
okay, great.
I might like to mention that Bryce has very big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's not that I'm doing mapping, but I'm also moving into more natural resources and just trying to expand the county's capacity to deal with the rapid growth we're dealing with. So I'm pretty excited about that though, but that's why I moved from being an independent mapper did everything on my own to now I'm back working with and under Ann. So it's going really well so far.
And can I ask just real quick a clarifying question? Just from my lack of not knowing the property as well as everybody else in the room. The property immediately north of your development, specifically where the Colorado Trail is on, is that a public parcel or is that a private parcel?
That is a public part. Here, I'm gonna share our sketch plan.
Well, I don't want to derail the conversation where Ann was going with everything. So just a clarification on that. That's public just north of you?
Well, so it's a little bit of a complicated issue, Michael, because the land adjacent to the property to the north is owned by the United States government, right? So that's a public entity, but the Colorado Trail does come onto the Angel View 2 property as well.
Okay, but just to clarify, the property immediately north is either U.S. Forests or BLM.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's not just to the north, it's actually to the east and to the west as well.
Okay, great.
So-
Sorry, I just as clarifying, just for me to, I was just trying to place the I live in Salida, so I go up to Twin Lakes a lot and I've ridden that section of trail. I'm just trying to place where this is. So thank you.
Yeah, if you've ridden that section of the trail, right where you come by there's a large gulch. So that gulch runs down the Angel View 2 property. And the kind of trail skirts around the top of it and leaves the property.
Great, thank you.
I'd like to ask, have you shared with the Forest Service that proposal?
Which proposal is that, Paul?
The trail that goes through your property?
In what, I don't think it's a proposal. I think the trail exists on the private property.
Have you shared this plan with the Forest Service?
I think that Melissa has reached out to the Colorado Trail group, but I don't know exactly if it was with the Forest Service or who that outreach was with.
Okay.
Yeah, I can address that. There's a nonprofit and Nancy, am I saying her last name, Bailey, Economic Development. We had a meeting with her and she's going to kind of open up that door for us. We'd like to work very closely with them and you'll see some of the things we're doing to help protect that trail. It actually does enter the property quite a ways, but we're gonna live with that. And we can talk about that when we get to the sketch plan.
Okay, so if it's okay with everyone, I'm gonna get kind of back on track. I'm not on the Zoom screen right now. We're trying to upload some maps. Just kind of to your point, Michael, just to give kind of Google Earth kind of, there we go. Let me get that screen shared, just to give you a better look at this. So are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Just a minute, let me get us queued up here. Oops, can't see that. Where's the...
Sorry, that's mine.
Oh, I had the wrong mouse. Just a minute. We have too many things going on here. So let me screen share Google Earth. There we go. All right, Michael. So just to kind of, and then here, I'll let you drive. So here, just for point of reference, I wanted to get this.
Yeah, so this is Angel View 1, and this is the Angel View 2 parcel.
And then maybe out a little bit, just to get a little.
Give you a little
Orient-
context.
yeah, there
Twin
we go.
Lakes, here's the Twin Lakes Village. And we have Arkansas River, Highway 24, Highway 82 coming up, and this is the Panarch subdivision.
Does that help kind of just put it into context a little bit better?
Yes, thank you very much. My only other clarifying, when you zoom in, the property, that little triangle, I'm guessing is this a private residence that isn't part of the project, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. And so getting back to, so I'll stop screen sharing for a second. But we're going to come back to this map just to have a little discussion because we kind of want to talk about, our intent today was just make sure that the planning team just kind of has a visual of this area. And so Bryce was just kind of queuing that up because we definitely have some concerns about topographical things, especially in the shared driveway lots in particular. Anyway, so we can queue that up a little bit differently when we get to that point. I'm going to stop sharing so we can get back to the dashboard. And I apologize, I had forgotten a second sheet. I went down and grabbed it. So I think where we were in the checklist is we were on the soils and this, as well as interpretation of soil types. The vegetation shall be described. Tree masses, life and intermittent streams, lakes, floodplains, water bodies, dry gulches, springs, and wetlands are going to be shown in what you're presenting. The survey and report on the general geologic, drainage, wildlife, wildfire, and other conditions on the subject of adjacent property on the subject, adjacent property which could affect development on the subject property. Equal attention should focus on the potential effects of the proposed development upon the area conditions of contiguous and adjacent property. So you've got the utility plan in there, sites and acreages, if any to be reserved or dedicated. Proposed method of fire protection and access. I did see that there's a letter from the Leadville Lake County Fire Rescue, and I had an opportunity to talk to Steve Boyle this morning. Demonstration of the project compliance with all the zone district requirements and subdivision standards, chapter 4, 5, and 6.2. Then a discussion about the sketch plan, comprehensive plan. I have queued up those future land use maps, Paul, so when we get to that, we can talk about that a little bit. Facilities and services. Documentation from utility providers, electricity, telephone, or your telecommunications, police, and I have seen the fire protection. I don't know if you have anything yet from CDOT and Public Works, but that's included. The water system, the sanitary sewer system, of course, with some discussion on that, and the drainage, erosion, sedimentation, flood control, as described in section 6.6, and then traffic. So those are, I think they're all included in the dashboard when I looked at the dashboard. And so what I'd like to do is let the team kind of give us a presentation, starting at the general project report aspect, and see if we can, and I'll go through and just make sure that we are crossing off all of those items as we discuss them. So I'm going to turn it over to the Angel View team and let them kind of present everything that they have ready queued up to meet the criteria in the general project report.
Brian, you want to take lead?
Yeah, we will, yeah, some of these things are kind of locked in the box right now in the dashboard. But we'll start with the sketch plan. And I'm actually going to switch to, we have one that is has the aerial behind it, which gives a little bit more context. So you can see the major road circulation here. We have made some modifications since our last meeting, and we have removed all of the shared driveways except for two. And actually, you know, while we talk about the plan, I think I'll go to the one without the aerial on it. It's a little bit clearer. There's only two shared driveways now, one serving these three upper lots and one serving lot 5 and lot 4 here in the internal of the group. So we've kind of reduced those shared driveways quite a bit. So we're showing the lots, we're showing the area of influences. We have a land use table here that kind of shows how all those parcels break down. We've also included a secondary open space table that shows the open space tracts, but then also the reserved open space that is on the private lots. So the development area is only within that area of influence in the driveway. Everything else is to remain untouched except for any kind of required tiles for grading in those areas. These are private, all the roads are in tracks, but we have designed the roads to both the local road in most places, and then there's a section of primitive road that runs from this location here up and around through the top of the project back to here. So they are private roads, but they're designed to the public road standards. We've kind of done a fair amount of preliminary engineering on these, and we're not going to need to request any variances on the grades or the tangent lanes or curves or anything like that. So we're trying as much as possible, or we are following the code to the letter here and not going to be asking for any variances in that manner.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question? When you say primitive road, does that mean, and are these roads paved? Can you explain what the primitive road versus this, what the difference is?
So we have these typical cross sections down here. So our intent is for the primitive road to be paved. But here is the cross section that is pulled right out of your guys' code. So the lanes are just a little bit more narrow, and it's a little bit more narrow of a shoulder. And the roadside ditches are a little steeper, but that is the only difference there. And Brian's going to zoom in here to kind of show you a little closer. So that's the intent there.
And are they paved or are they?
Yes,
They will be paved. Yes.
Thank you.
yeah, I think the primitive road, I mean, yeah, when you say primitive road, you think like, oh, this is like going to be a dirt or some sort of other road. The primitive road just has a slightly different classification and standards on the engineering side. So you can go a little bit steeper, but there's a limit on the ADT and a couple other concerns as well, or other limitations there. You can see on, sorry, go ahead.
I was just thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Yep.
May I ask for the reason for doing that primitive and the change to local to primitive?
Yeah, so the reason for using a primitive road is because it allows us to go to a 10% slope, which in the region that we're showing that primitive road is essential for the design. The local road caps out at 7%, and there's no way for us to make those grades at the 7%. So that's why we elected to go with the primitive road.
Thank you.
Yeah, over the topography of the site, depending on how you look at it, rises or drops about 450 feet generally from the northwest falling to the southeast. So there are, we did quite a few iterations of this plan trying to make those roads be as navigable as possible and really making sure that we're holding to all of the Lake County standards. So we are showing, two adjacent pieces of information here on the sketch plan. One is the Lake View Campground, which is up in the northeast corner. Zoom in over there real quick. So we're showing some of our the distances, from the road to the nearest campsite, and then there's a trail that runs up through here too. And we're just basically showing from the road to the trail, kind of those distances there, so you can understand kind of what the setbacks are. This property that wraps around in that edge is part of lot 12. However, the area of influence is much further away from those existing improvements there. Similarly, we are showing the area where the Colorado Trail comes onto the property, and then we're showing the distances there from the lots, and then from the closest areas of influence to it. And then there is a 5.5 acre tract on the north side of the property that we're using as kind of a buffer to allow that trail to exist there, and give plenty of separation from where we'll be affecting the property to the existing trail. So were there any questions about that? I know that we had some previous discussions about it, but we just wanted to make sure that we were kind of identifying that area as well.
If I can jump in, one of our goals or their goals was to make sure that we're certainly put houses there, but you haven't been on the property, but it's all trees at the top, top corner of this thing.
Yeah, here, I
And
can
so
jump back.
if we push the area of influence down, the houses down, even though the trail, and we probably should have done a measurement, guys, on the edge of the property. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have the Colorado Trail be moved off of our property, but we're still a considerable distance from the trail itself. We want people to continue to walk on the property and not see houses. That's a big goal of ours. We don't want to, people have traveled that trail for years and years, and it's legacy, and we don't want to make it disrupt it in any way. It's really important to us. It's not a code requirement. It's a personal requirement that we have put forth here.
Yeah, and topographically, there is kind of a ridge that runs along here, almost at the back of those lots. So, there's a significant grade difference between where this area of influence is and where the trail is there. So as much as we can, we're trying to, use the topography to our advantage to kind of create that separation.
What is AOI?
That's the area of influence. So that is it's roughly 20% of the lot size. That's the area that we're allowing development to happen on those parcels aside from the driveway. So everything else around there would be preserved.
So
It's a
this is,
building.
well, no, it's something we put in place for Angel View 1. It's not a building envelope. It's an area that you could actually disturb. So we leave all the trees. If you look at lot 16 as an example, lot 16, and you can see from the topography here, has a tremendous amount of trees north that creates a barrier for the Colorado Trail. We leave those trees everywhere except for within the dotted line. That's an area of influence. I don't know that developers are doing that, but that's something we're doing. We think it's important to live soft on the land.
I've always appreciated that, Alan. But it just seems to me they can put their house anywhere within that area of influence.
Yes.
And does that include the septic system?
Septic is outside of the area of influence. That's the building envelope for actually the house itself, and
So I guess I've always not quite understood the difference between a building envelope and an area of influence.
I think the area of influence is more generous than the building envelope. So like if you had, say you have a house and you have a detached garage, the space between those would not be included in a building envelope, but it would be included in the area of influence. Is that clear? I think that.
Thank you.
Yep. So we're showing 21 buildable lots here. We do have 2 open space tracks, track A along the north area. There's track B that runs along the road here on the northern boundary, and track C down here in the bottom southeast corner as well. Track C actually is located on the south side of Highway 82. Track G, I'm sorry. Any questions about the sketch plan?
What is it you intend to do with tract G?
I think there's a concept that's kind of under development right now, Paul, that is to have a veterans memorial over there. But we're not real clear on what the details are of that yet.
And then in reading your narrative, tract A, are you going to do a conservation easement? What's your plan there? Do you have an existing easement with the Colorado Trail?
We do not. Right now, we're proposing that would be the tract A would be an open space tract with a blanket access easement. We might end up, I think, when we get towards final planning, that might end up being 2 tracks. One with a public access easement that runs say 50 feet beyond the trail on the south side. And then a private open space tract that doesn't have the access easement on there, that would kind of buffer the lots to that public access easement.
So have you, the Colorado recreation statute, are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
So in Colorado, if you have a dedicated easement for trail access, you as a property owner, if it's done in a certain capacity through the platting of an easement, you benefit by the Colorado statute, recreation statute, basically indemnifying you from someone getting hurt or the use of the trail. And so there's some paperwork that would probably need to be associated with that. That would need to be brought forward through the approval process. And I don't know if you guys have done that in the past or not.
I know, but that sounds wonderful, because we did have some concerns about people being injured on the private property up there. So I think that solves a challenge that we were trying to resolve.
I will put it'll take me a second. But I will put the statute in the chat for you guys to research.
Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
See, we're not all bad guys.
Now, who said that anybody's bad guys? Everybody's amazing as a person, right? It's just that we got to always figure out how do we make something efficient, quick, and so that we all ultimately get benefited serving the community. At the end of the day, this is all for serving the community, right? That's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. So there are some additional layers of information on here. We are showing the adjacent property owners on the sketch plan and some of that other background information. The zoning, we're not proposing any zoning changes. It is the recreational zoning that we're retaining. And I think, you guys will have plenty of time to kind of walk through these, the tables and everything else on the plan.
Alan, if I might ask, I don't have a copy in my mind of Angel View 1. Was there a cul-de-sac right there?
There is a cul-de-sac. It's right next to, very good memory. It's a cul-de-sac by lot number 2, Angel View 1. And as we submitted for final plat, we actually have this little line. So I always hoped we could figure out something with Angel View 2, and we would just extend it. And then likely what would happen, as you know, Chuck Fleener granted us an emergency easement, secondary egress. That would then go away. We wouldn't have to, I mean, Chuck's a great guy, but I don't want to, if I don't have to go through his property as emergency, we'll keep it there for final plat, but this is another option for us. And it also serves as a secondary means of egress for Angel View 2.
So you won't have to do any replatting of that particular lot in order to accommodate this extension.
No, it's already there.
Okay.
Yeah, those roads tie in directly. So then I'm going to jump back to the dashboard, unless there's any other questions on the sketch plan right now. Are you guys able to see the dashboard, or are you still seeing the sketch plan?
Still the plan.
Okay, let me adjust my share here. Let me just see if this works better. You guys see the dashboard now?
Got it now.
Okay, great. One of these days I'll get the hang of Zoom. Okay, so that's the sketch plan. We do have a report from CTL Thompson that deals with the soils reports. And then we do have a report. We have a letter actually from CPW that deals with the wildfire mineral. I think we have a letter from our wildfire consultant as well. Just basically stating that Angel View 2 is similar to Angel View 1 And then we'll prepare a similar detailed report as we move through the entitlement process. The utility plan, infrastructure, and other services are covered in the narrative that's been prepared. I don't think there's any areas right now that are dedicated for parks or schools, but we do have those tracks for open space as depicted in the sketch plan and discussed in the narrative. The fire protection, I think we, sorry, for some reason I'm not able to scroll here one at a time. The fire protection, we talked, so all the homes will be sprinklered, and then we had a very productive meeting with Steve Boyle, and he wrote a letter of support, I think, for the project. And then I think we're covering the project compliance with the zoning district requirements. Those are all included in the narrative as well.
Steve's letter said something about a cistern.
Yes, yeah. So I think we're gonna have a cistern on this project. I think there's 2 cisterns on Angel View 1. And I think we're intending on including a cistern in Angel View 2 as well. Whether or not that is a cistern that is relocated from Angel View 1 to Angel View 2 to provide better diversity, or if it is an additional cistern, I think it's still something we're working out.
Thank you.
And then all of these, the consistency with the comp plan, the facilities and services. We have will serve letters. I'm not sure, I gotta check back with Melissa to see if we have them for Public Works, and there was one other one that I think we need to check on.
For communications.
Yeah, I have not, I think that the challenge we're having with the Google Drive is that each one of these groups is in a separate folder, and I have permissions to the 2 of the folders, but not the remainder of them, so. But the water system, I think we have a letter talking about the water system service, and then the sanitary sewer system, which would be septic as well. I think that's talked about in the CCL report. And then we have information about the drainage, erosion, sediment control, flood control listed in the narrative, as well as I believe we have a traffic memo included in the Google Drive as well. And I think those are all the general project pieces. And then I think we have the APO report for 500 feet. And then the mineral estate holders as well.
Do you have something regarding wildlife?
We have a letter from CPW saying that they don't think there's any wildlife impacts.
Okay.
And I think they touched on a couple of topics in their letter.
Would it be possible for somebody, for maybe Bryce, to pull up that Google Earth picture? Hey, you guys have smoothed yourselves out. You're not herky-jerky anymore.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a view of it at an angle.
Yeah, could you put it back into 2D rather than a 3D? Yeah. And then could you zoom down to where that Colorado Trail is?
There.
And then scroll down a little bit. Is that the main arm for the Colorado Trail?
I believe it is, yes.
But you're not.
Yeah, I believe it is. That's where you come down and pop across the highway to go around Twin Lakes.
Could you zoom back out a little bit, Bruce? Bryce. Because I guess I guess I'm thinking that that trail might not be the main arm. Michael, have you walked it?
Yeah, I'm looking, I'm just triple checking myself. There's a section that comes out of just north of Twin Lakes, Paul, that you're probably familiar with. That section, it's a Colorado Trail. They name that section the Continental Divide CT. So it's actually, that section's a Continental Divide. The Colorado Trail pops out at Twin Lakes to the west. So Bryce, if you were to scroll west to Twin Lakes, then go directly where the T is on Twin Lakes, just to the left of the T on Twin Lakes, there's a trail that pops out right there. That is the formal Colorado Trail. So basically there's a loop around the Twin Lakes, but that comes out to the south before it jumps back onto the Colorado.
So I'm looking at a very unofficial map, Michael, the CO Trex app. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's listing this piece as Colorado Trail segment 11.
Yep.
Looks like running from up by Emerald Lake. And then it comes down through here, kind of skirts the campground and then crosses 82 and then goes around the north side of Twin Lakes. Is that kind of weird?
Yep. That's what it's an interesting section because there's a loop around the lake that you can ride. And the question, so my understanding is, like, for instance, the Colorado Trail race uses that section, goes around the lake, and then heads, you go around the outfall on the lakes all the way to the east and then head up. I've ridden in multiple different fashions, but yeah, I've gone up that Twin Lakes section, made a right, come down, and done the loop that way too. But anyhow, one thing that I would add on that, so I don't, and this is a question for you, has the county ever been involved in conservation easements? Do you hold any?
Not, we were, which,
CCC
Colorado, yeah.
holds one for us. Yeah.
Which one?
Who's CCC?
Yeah, you're right. So, and
who's that?
Central Colorado Conservancy, they're in Salida.
Okay.
So we worked with them on the Andrick parcels
That's right,
along the
Andrick.
Arkansas River. And
That's the new.
they actually helped purchase them, and then they're giving title back to the county, but they're putting the conservation easement on and holding it.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm sorry, this is kind of, but the open space requirement in the code, et cetera. There's a tax credit that actually, as a developer, you can receive for entering into a conservation easement for that section of the trail. And then I put in there the statutory, if you do that, you are indemnified per statute under the recreational statute. So it's something worth discussing. If there's, is Andrew Mackey still running that, Bryce? It was for years.
Mackie, no, it's, but we have someone now on staff.
Yeah, we just hired someone that's working Lake County specific to deal with those issues. Her name is Sarah Hamilton.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I can link you with her.
Or,
I
yeah,
think-
we should.
I guess the big question is to the applicant, is that something that you want to investigate?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so yeah, dedication of a conservation easement, or recreation easement. It doesn't even need to be a conservation easement. You know, there's a lot of different terms to do that. I dealt with conservation easements and trail access easements all the time in Crested Butte. But there is certainly a tax incentive that you can receive. There's some appraisal processes and everything. I would strongly recommend if the county is already engaged CCC, that is who you reach out to. There's also the Colorado Trail Society, et cetera, that could be the beneficiary of the the grantee. But I think going with CCC and the fact that they already manage conservation easements is your best bet, because when you enter into a conservation easement, there are obligations that you perform and that you protect the conservation values of that and the recreation values. But your proposal is in line with that, so I don't think there's any big issues. It's just a a formalized agreement that needs to take place, and if CCC is involved, they have executed those kind of agreements in the past, and we'll work with you. So
They're
I-
not
That
working
sounds
on other
wonderful.
private parcels, additional part, like they're working on Brian Ferguson's. So we can get you a contact, Alan, for Sarah
Okay.
Hamilton to start the conversation or find out more information.
Okay. Hey, Robbie has to go to has an opportunity zone meeting, so he's going to jump. But Robbie mentioned what they just said when you're talking to them as well, and I'll fill you in when we get finished here.
I do want to thank you all and really, really appreciate the help that you guys are providing. And we would really closely work with you guys to make something happen. With that said, thank you. We'll talk again.
Nice meeting you, Robbie.
Same here, sir. Thank you.
So I might like to point out also that since you haven't talked to the Forest Service about this, you don't know what their plans are for that, if any. I haven't walked or traveled this particular trail, but you don't know that isn't sort of socially created, and the Forest Service may not want that alignment. And they might want to take this as an advantage to change it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think if they're interested in relocation, I think we'd be happy to talk about that, right, Alan? Yeah. Would they be routed as part of the referral agencies for this?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
I think when they receive the application, to Paul's point, they obviously they could do a reroute, but if there is the possibility of a conservation easement too, that needs to be brought to their attention. So it'll be one or the other for them. That the reroute of that, I don't want to speak for the Forest Service, so that would be completely contingent on them. Obviously, it's a high volume trail, being what it is. So, if you guys are willing to entertain the easement and get the immunity through the statute, I think that's a good place to start.
And I like that especially because, we don't want any messaging, oh, Angel View came in and pushed the Colorado Trail off. So it's like, I like the first idea a little bit better, but we'll explore the first one and obviously the second one as well.
Yeah, and I think, do you think it would be appropriate to just add some language to that we would be exploring the possibility of a conservation easement for that, like in the narrative for the project, so that kind of brings it to everybody's attention?
If that's the intent of the project, I would encourage you to do that. Yep.
Hey, And you have given Melissa a formal checklist, right? I believe that's what the dashboard is based on.
It is, it's exactly, and so I think the only other things, we've gone through, you did say that there's a traffic study included, right?
I think
Agreed.
there's a traffic letter talking about the similarities between this and Angel View 2, and then we would do a full study at the preliminary level.
Okay.
Yeah, and I could jump in real quick on that. So the last traffic study we did was in 2020. And Mike Rocha, our consultant, wrote a letter, but he's also going to, do more, relevant, research, so we're tied together. He's doing the same thing for Angel View 1.
Okay, so obviously, I'm sure you've got the adjacent property owner list. And, I saw that at the bottom I saw it at the bottom. So as long as you've got, I guess as soon as you've got, the materials accessible on the dashboard, then, we can move forward. And I can get you, the cost of the submittal. It's a flat fee and a per unit amount. So, I'll get that over to you. I'll email the, cost of the submittal. Any other questions for us? And did you save, or did you send, because I'd like to have that as well. In the chat, did you put that link? Michael, yeah, you did. There it is.
Yeah, it's 3-41-101.
Got it. I see it. Okay, super. Anyone have any other questions, thoughts, concerns?
I just a more of a technical question, and so we'll submit the dashboard with the appropriate permissions. Whether we flip that over to like maybe a Dropbox, or if we figure out the permissions. Two things, I guess. One is, do you need a hard copy of, like, one copy hard of all the submittal documents? Or is the digital?
Yeah, I would like to have one hard copy, just a singular.
Okay, one hard copy, and that's all the reports, the map, everything, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, would it be possible for you to just send an email with everybody you want to have access to the dashboard with their emails in there, so we make sure that we can get them all access if we keep going in the Google Drive. I'm not that familiar with Google Drive. I'm much more familiar with Dropbox, and I think I can probably work with Melissa to make it work at Dropbox, but I think she likes using the Google Drive. So if we just had a list of those emails, we'll be able to try to get those all permissioned out.
Okay, yep, happy to do that.
Okay.
And wasn't Google Drive I think you requested us to use Google Drive, right?
That's what the county uses, yes.
Okay, so why don't we stick with that, guys, but let's set up permissions internally so we don't have this problem again.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll dig a little deeper into that, Alan, and see if I can figure out a structure where we can do a little more global granting of permissions rather than individual.
Well, I might say it's nice to meet you, Don, Brian, and Jake, and I look forward to working with you.
Yeah,
If we're done here, Ann, I'm gonna say that I'm ready to take a nap.
Thanks,
That's
everybody.
okay. All right, thank you all.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
Michael, can you stay on with Bryce and I for just a second? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Alex.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, Bryce, all right. Hey, Michael, you're Bryce. Remind me your dates, September 6th. Is that right?
Yeah, September 6th to the 20th.
6th through the 20th.
Well, it's actually, let me see here, and it's actually not the 6th. I'll be here. It's the 8th through the 20th. I'm sorry, it's the 8th through the 19th that I'm gone. I'm back on the 20th.
Okay, you're available on the 20th, or?
I'm available on the 20th. Technically, I'm available on the 19th as well, but I will tell you already that I am due to be in La Junta that night. So I'll be driving that day, so I already know that that day is pretty crazy.
Can you give
The
me,
twen-
a day that you have available for the Leadville 7 discussion after the 19th? For, an hour's worth of time?
Yeah, they can't get in before, they can't do the 7th, a chance.
They asked for the 8th. I can ask if they can, do you have time on the 7th?
I do. What time do they want to do on the 8th?
They want it 10.
I can do the 8th at 10 if it's Zoom. I can fit that in. That was my packing day, but I can fit in one of these during, that's the problem.
Okay,
I can-
awesome.
So
I'll
you
see if
want,
I can-
so it's the 8th at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna get that on my calendar now.
Go ahead and put a hold there, and then I'll confirm with all of us. Paul's availability is usually very easy, and I think that's a good day that's a Thursday, right?
Yeah, so 10 is good.
So yeah, Thursdays are pretty good days. So awesome. I will confirm everything and then get a Zoom out and a invitation. Thanks for bringing up that statute. That's awesome.
Yeah. No problem. Bryce, so what's the deal? Sorry, what's the new deal with Bryce? I didn't know this. Is he moving into planning?
I'm falling into the planning department. Yep. Just
Cool.
have mapping there and be on the same kind of level and priorities and everything like that. So that's really good. And currently kind of sussing out what the new job is though. So
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I used to do. Now we're deciding what I'm going to add on, and that's in discussion.
Yeah,
Got
there's
to talk to a few people about that.
There's so many, Bryce is kind of in the driver's seat of creating his own job description.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of figure it out from there. But we're also talking about, and I know this is a little unique. I found another community, but I can't tell you exactly which one it is, about bringing in environmental health too. We have so much interaction with at least David Wilson, who oversees OWTS permitting and just a lot of things that we have overlaps in. So there's kind of a little bit of a disconnect even between facilities as well as, I just think he would really benefit. I think we all benefit from being in the same space, working together on things. So thinking
So
about
you have
that as
do you have a
well.
space for Bryce? You do?
I mean,
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in Paul's old office for now. When someone comes in that's, a new planner or something like that, full time in the office, they have first dibs on that. But for now, I'm kind of set up in Paul's office and I'm cleaning it up a little bit.
A lot,
And,
cleaning it up a lot.
yeah, kind of an hour at the end of every day.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but
so-
immediately there's a huge benefit for me. I hope,
Yeah, no,
and-
for sure.
And obviously, so yeah, super excited, and especially like just even navigating our new backcountry zoning, and Bryce can really assist people in going through that site plan application process, and there's just so many things that we work on together. I kind of batted over. I think you remember when I was a little bit in a panic over 1041s, and Sarah's thought that they could kind of almost replace the land development code, and so. Kind of bringing Bryce on and saying, hey, this is where we finally landed about, with the help of our environmental council and stuff. And so he's gonna hopefully start working on that project. I mean, there's just so many things that
Well,
do
and we
that
mentioned
overlap.
now we have a Lake County specific, Lake County half funds the role.
Yeah.
CCC funds the other half, but so we have someone from Central Colorado Conservancy specifically dealing with our conservation easements and those kind of things, lives here in Leadville. So a little bit more on the ground, which is great. And that's a new role that we're trying to fold in, like how me and her work together, what are her responsibilities, what am I gonna be? But in line with that, we're kind of expanding capacity in that.
And then
way.
as soon as we can figure out what the heck the turret, I'm gonna shut the door real quick, because I don't know if you've had any conversations yet with the tourism director, or I don't know what he is, tourism manager?
He's
Tourism
named himself the director.
Director, he's called himself, but he's really, have you met Adam? He's very much inserting himself within, just kind of everything. And so I got an email yesterday that he was somehow spearheading a conversation at the rail yard with the developer.
Did you see he's on the front page of the newspaper too?
Oh, he's on the front page of the newspaper.
For some
Wow.
other thing, yeah.
So his position is being funded in part by the 2A ballot initiative.
That was builders
And-
for housing.
And it seems like, I mean, we go to.
Well, the 2A funds have a little chunk that goes to, yeah.
But there's no way to really kind of define what he's doing in the county. He just kind of seems to be everywhere. He was chasing short-term.
Who's his board? Is it the tourism board? Yeah,
But he's
I
really
mean,
kind
on
of-
land use, he just needs, we just need to send him a message that he's not a referral agency for land use applications. And he can comment as a member of the public, but he has no formal commenting power. I would nix that immediately.
Right.
I think that is really important because he's scheduling meetings with developers, specifically the rail yard, regarding, and then like trying to kind of facilitate the conversation between, Chapin is now at the city, and I think he's gonna be great. But he's at the city, and so he's like coordinating next steps for the developer and talk, it's just kind of crazy. So as this tourism person, I don't know.
Yeah, holding.
Well, that's the city, but a second he jumps into any kind of land development conversation with a developer in the county, you just need to slap him silly again.
Well,
Sorry,
but-
this is being recorded. I shouldn't say it like that.
Oh, gosh, hold on just a minute.